2-10, swing and a miss, struck him out. The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of baseball.
And the Sixers win it! Wow!
Oh man, Embiid just posterized Russell Westbrook.
You love the Philadelphia Eagles? Let me get a hell yeah!
Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome to Party on Broad. Today, our Sixers draft continues, and we are talking about a Villanova Wildcat. Before we get started, like, comment, subscribe here at the Painted Lines YouTube channel. Joining me today to help me break down probably one of the most polarizing, tough reads I have done so far this draft season. He is Tiago. Follow him on Twitter at @tscabby. What's up, Tiago?
Man, you can say that again. I've seen this guy get mocked in the first round. I've seen this guy be undrafted. I've seen this guy literally every single spot in the second round. I'm not sure many people have a handle on who Jeremiah Robinson-Earl is and is going to be, and we'll try to make sense of it. But yeah, he's all over the place right now.
When I did my deep dive into this guy, I was excited because I know how, this guy was a huge prospect coming out of high school. He has a lot of buzz. But like you said, Tiago, I came out of it not knowing what the heck I just watched and not knowing where this guy fits at the next level. He is Jeremiah Robinson-Earl. Let's start the tape. Tiago, tell us a little bit about JRE.
Yeah, that's usually not a good thing when you don't know what you're watching. It's usually not a good sign. But yeah, Villanova product, man. And, we've seen these guys come out of Villanova recently. Unfortunately, the Sixers never really took them seriously as they should have because, Saddiq Bey, Mikal Bridges, Dante DiVincenzo, even Josh Hart, all these guys were locally in our backyard, and the Sixers never really scouted them at the level that they should have. Bridges, they did, but then they decided to trade him away. So it's funny because Jeremiah Robinson-Earl is actually the highest pedigree player out of that entire group of Villanova players. So you would think perhaps he would have the highest impact at the next level, but I am actually lower of him as an impact player at the NBA than the list of players I just mentioned. So, we'll see. It's going to be interesting because the first question, like you said, we talked about is what is he at the NBA? So if you can't shoot, if you can't protect the rim, if you can't really stand out physically, and you're a little bit big, but you're not really long, then what are you? And that's something that teams are going to have to sort out. I think that's kind of where they're at in their evaluation phase. I know he tested well in the agility drills, but tested very poorly as a vertical athlete, which is, again, not a good sign for a guy who's going to try to, get his shot off at the next level or be kind of a rim protector. So, we'll try to sort it out, but right now, I see him as kind of like a mid to late second round pick, but, high IQ players, man. And he's a very, very smart player. Those guys, they tend to get drafted.
Yeah, so let's talk about strength. And that's the first thing that comes to my mind. This is a guy that impacts the game on away from the box score, not unlike Ben Simmons. I'm not comparing those two, of course. But what I'm saying is he does all the little things to help a team win, period. However, like you said, Tiago, I just don't know if his strengths are going to make that big of an impact at the next level. Clearly, it's his versatility. Clearly, it's his high IQ. He does it both offensively and defensively. He knows how to get position. He's going to be able to defend multiple positions. But other than that, I'm not so sure, Tiago. What does this kid bring to the next level, strengths-wise?
Yeah, so when you say he impacts winning, where I see him impact winning the most is defensively. So as a space defender, as a pick and roll defender, he's super smart. He understands how to position his body, how to play those angles, and how to really deny easy looks at the rim. Highly switchable. At college, I saw him defend 1s through 4, can really move laterally in space and stick with these kind of guards at the college level. Again, is that going to be translatable at the NBA? We're not sure yet. But when you talk about impact winning, a guy who defensively late in games, you didn't see him foul guys. He played clean, played with his hands up, really made an impact on the box score and off the box score. So that was something that really stood out for him as a strength. For me, and I am probably a little bit more bullish than most people are with his shot. When you look at his numbers, shot 29% from deep, which is not great, but low volume. Now, when you break it down even further, he actually shot something like 57 from 2-point land, which is a high number. And when you look at the tape, a lot of these shots are like long distance too.
I hate it.
Yeah, they're terrible. They're horrific value shots from a value standpoint. But when you think about how that translates as a rangy stretch 4, stretch 5 player, I think it translates pretty well. If he just takes a couple more steps back to that 3-point line, and if you look at his form, like his form for me, it looks clean. It looks pretty balanced, and he's confident. Like he's not a guy who's going to shy away from shooting. So to me, it's a matter of cleaning up that kind of shot selection and really getting him to take more looks behind the arc. And I think he'll do that at the NBA level. And I'm confident that he's going to be able to. Yeah, he's probably not going to be a 40% 3-point shooter, but if he's shooting at 37, 38%, now you're talking about a guy who can potentially have an impact at the NBA offensively. So it's really, to me, it's the shooting, it's the defense, it's the high IQ. And he does a lot of little things like, passing, very smart passer, off the post, taking guys off the dribble. Again, he's not anything great about it, but when you talk about having slower centers on you, he may be able to take advantage off the dribble. So there's a lot of little different things to work with him there. It's just a matter of how much impact will you get out of him offensively, I think. And that's really where I'm a little bit more bullish than most, but who knows really at this point.
Yeah, when you talk about weaknesses, this is why it was so confusing for me, because when I look at years past, JRE is exactly the type of prospect that I've always fallen in love with. Like, this guy is a shot away from being one of my favorite guys in a typical draft class. Just falling in love with this guy. It's the shot. I don't know where I'm at with the shot. You seem to be that confident that it can pull around a little bit, but I just go back to the shot selection. The shot selection was garbage. Just take 2 steps back.
Yeah.
Just constant over and over and over again. Thiago, what are some of JRE's weaknesses?
Are you saying Jay Wright did not do a good job of coaching?
I'm not saying that at all. He's going to get killed.
You're going to anger Nova Nation here. They're going to come down. It's really the size and the lack of burst. And that's going to be a problem, first of all, as a rim protector. Now, he's a very strong player. You see him really anchor down on bigger guards. He makes it really tough on bigger players to try to get deep post position. He does a good job anchoring as a rebounder. But, man, you just see guys just reach over him and grab rebounds or really just kind of, just rise over him with a jump shot. And there's really not a lot he can do because the size, athleticism profile just not favor him. And I really wonder if he's ever going to make it as a stretch 5 as a result. So I think he's really going to be a guy who's going to be very scheme dependent. I think he's going to have to rely on a coaching staff who can kind of deploy him in space and kind of use him in very specific matchups and situations, which really limit his impact as a prospect. If you're going to have this guy come in and kind of be your anchor center or even a stretch power forward, perhaps, I'm not sure you're going to survive much with him there. So it's going to be a question around, can you live with his lack of size and explosion, and how can you deploy him out in space? That's what we'll see. Like I said, I'm a little more bullish on him on some of those things, but I don't see him really growing and becoming more explosive over time. I think he is what he is at this point, and that's probably a second-round player.
That's it, Thiago. It's like when I'm watching the tape, you watch him, really be able to body, 3, 4s, and 5s in college. I just don't know how much that's going to translate. I just given his lack of athleticism and measurements and all that kind of stuff. That's where I'm a little concerned.
But we saw that's something we see with Villanova players, right? So Jalen Brunson, small, doesn't do anything crazy. He's in the NBA, man. He's a big piece of Dallas's team. Josh Hart, same thing. Dante DiVincenzo, smaller starters for the Bucks. So I would not completely rule him out because, there's something that Villanova water, man. These guys, they come out knowing what to do. So that's part of it is a testament to Jay Wright, and it's also, testament of the players they get in that program. So you can't rule them out for those things, but the odds are definitely stacked against them as a big.
You're 100% right. I mean, Villanova players clearly are prepared once they hit that NBA floor. No one can deny that. Let's go on to fit with the Sixers, man. How do you see this fit with JRE and the Sixers?
I'll just go straight to IQ because, man, we all watch a lot of Sixers games, man. And one of the things that drives me absolutely nuts about this team is that I myself find this team to be very low IQ in very specific positions, specifically those big positions. And, Ben, Joel, they're the league of their own. But, we just start going down to Tobias range, and then we go down to those Mike Scotts, Dwight Howard. It's just a sea of mistakes defensively, offensively. You're like, are you sure these guys watch film, or they get a feel for the game that you expect them to have? And JRE is one of those really high IQ players. I think he's going to be, if he does make it into the NBA, he's going to be one of those really kind of glue bench pieces, kind of like a TJ McConnell-esque type player in terms of, just being supportive, being a great locker room presence, and give you perhaps 5 to 10 minutes here and there that's productive for your roster. So it's really where I see the fit there with JRE. I love the IQ. I love the player. Everything you read about him checks off as a phenomenal locker room presence. And, you can always have guys like that on the team, man. They're not going to complain when they don't play. They're going to support the guys, and they're going to give you, some spot minutes here and there. So, yeah, we'll see. I mean, the Sixers have 1 second-round pick that they can play with. Perhaps that's not the best way to go about it, but, if Daryl Morey sees otherwise, take a shot, see what happens.
I think it's going to, truthfully, come down to this guy's private workouts or individual workouts with the Sixers. If he shows that his shot is ready and NBA ready, I think that's everything. You go to the list of, Tyrese Maxey was a little bit of an outlier, but you look at Isaiah Joe, you look at guys like Mario Shayok, you look at guys, Shamit that the Sixers have brought in, like they historically will bring in bona fide shooters. So that's it for me is if this guy shows that he, the shot is ready to go, maybe you take a chance on him in that second round. But I'm kind of like 50-50. Like on one end, my gut is saying no, but no, my heart is saying no. My gut is saying it's a Jay Wright guy. He's going to get it done at the next level. You just got to trust process. But I don't know. This is, like I said, this is one of the most confusing reads I've had in a long time. Like usually I like to look at specific skill sets and see, yes, that is an NBA skill set. I don't know if I see that other than IQ here with
the Sixers luck, knowing how the Sixers love to draft. The one Villanova player they'll take a swing on will be a complete miss, right? 5 years of grabbing good Villanova players, and you decide to grab when the guy turns out to be a complete dud. That's the Sixers luck when it comes to drafting.
All right, let's wrap this up. Tiago, final thoughts. Where can we find you?
Yeah, we'll continue to do these as we move along. Draft is 2 weeks. We're trying to cobble together as much prospects as we can, do the due diligence so we know what we're talking about come draft night. There's a lot of prospects, man. The Sixers are they're going to have a great opportunity to add to their roster, so it's exciting times ahead.
So fun, man. Just like I said during our previous scouting report, man, this is Christmas right around the corner. Draft day is my favorite day of the year. We're going to be doing live streaming during the entire thing. It's going to be a ton of fun, just like we did last year. It was a huge success. Yeah. Make sure you go follow Tiago on Twitter at @tscabia. He's got some NBA draft posts coming down at thepaintlines.com. I do as well. I'm going to be doing my first and second round rankings. And we've got more and more of these here on the Painted Lines YouTube channel. So keep a lookout for those. For Tiago, for myself, thanks for watching, guys. Stay awesome.
The 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss, struck him out. The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball.
And the Sixers win it! Wow!
Oh, man, Embiid just posterized Russell Westbrook.
You love the